Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Jaxon Show. I'm your host, Jaxon Solomon, and today I'm going to be taking another look at the Conference Championship weekend and also NFL Week 14. So without further ado, let's get it. So first things first, we got to start out with the Conference Championship games from this weekend. Oregon versus Penn State. I got to put this in the top 10 game of the year conversation because this was just a fire game to watch. I was watching this game until maybe the fourth quarter. Dylan Gabriel and Oregon came out victorious 45-37. Oregon started off hot. They started off the game with a touchdown, got a turnover, then Penn State kicked a field goal, scored another touchdown, so it was 10-14 at the end of the first quarter. Things were already getting heated. 31-24 heading into half. Tez Johnson with a 48-yard touchdown pass from Dylan Gabriel. And then, like I said, I had to turn it off at the beginning of the fourth quarter. But, I woke up Sunday morning, saw the final results. And, Penn State thought maybe the comeback was real, but it just wasn't. They still made the college football playoff, though, so there's something to be proud of. They're just not champions of the Big Ten. Oregon, your 2024 Big Ten champions. What else do I got to say about this game, bro? I would say that definitely a great game to watch, bro. And, Dylan Gabriel throwing those 4 touchdowns. I think Drew Aller, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That really hurt a team like Penn State. It's just rough to be turning the ball over twice in a game. A lot of yards on both sides of this game. Penn State at 523 yards. Oregon had 469 yards. And Penn State lost the game. If you have more yards than the opposing team, what are you doing with those yards? Are you just going 50 yards down the field and settling for 3 or punting the ball? That's crazy. I can't imagine doing that as a team. Oregon, they played smart football. They played good football. No turnovers in this game. And like I said, Penn State had more first downs than Oregon had first downs. Penn State had 28 first downs. Oregon had 24 first downs. That's the kind of stuff you can't allow to happen, bro. Time of possession was heavily in Oregon's favor. They had the ball for 32 minutes and 36 seconds, while Penn State had the ball for 27 minutes and 24 seconds. It was a good game to watch. But if I was a Penn State fan, man, I'd be really angry right now. Next game on this list, Georgia, Texas. Great game. Went to overtime. I did not watch this game. I do not know why. But yeah. This was basically a playoff game for Georgia because the odds of them getting in if they lost were very slim. But it was just a field goal contest until the third quarter, where Trevor Etienne took a 10-yard run to the house, put Georgia on the board. Then DeAndre Moore Jr. with a 41-yard touchdown pass from Quentin Ewers to put the Longhorns and the Bulldogs even at 13. Couple of field goals would tie this game up heading into overtime. The second straight week, Georgia has to play an overtime game. Bert Auburn got a 32-yard field goal for Texas. And the Georgia touchdown to win the game from Trevor Etienne. That was a crazy sequence of events because Carson Beck got injured. And he came in and was in for the last snap. That's the crazy part about that. Carson Beck took the snap, handed the ball off to the running back to win the SEC championship game against Texas. That's crazy because he was injured for the entire game. Right? If I'm a Texas fan, one thing I can look back at, we outgained him in the yards category. Definitely not a positive thing. Me personally, I would be pretty upset. But if you're a Texas fan, that's one of the things that you can look on the positive side of things. Another thing that you can look at is, hey, we still made the college football playoff. So it's not like we're out of it, and we're still hosting a first-round playoff game. So there's that to look forward to as well. Moving on. The ACC and the Big 12 championship games. Big 12 championship game was a blowout. I think once it got to the second half, things got out of hand. Arizona State just handed out straight belts. In the ACC championship game, Clemson got off to a hot start. SMU came back, and Clemson won on a game-winning field goal. A little bit of controversy there. We'll get to that at the end of the show. But moving on into our NFL Week 14 review. How about we start in Buffalo with the Rams and the Bills. And this low-key might be my favorite game to watch of the week. Rams got off to a hot start, right? Opening possession touchdown. Josh Allen scores on the tush push. So, Buffalo, they're in at 7-7. Hunter Long score on a blocked punt. A return for a touchdown. Ty Johnson and the Bills would respond. Puka Nacua had a touchdown catch from 4 yards away. Then we enter the third with a 24-14 score. Kyron Williams enters the game. It starts off the second half with a rushing touchdown. Khalil Shakir, a 51-yard touchdown pass from Josh Allen to answer. Cooper Kupp, a 17-yard touchdown pass from Matthew Stafford. Josh Allen with a QB sneak into the end zone for the touchdown. Mac Hollins with a 21-yard catch from Josh Allen. Puka Nacua, a 19-yard touchdown pass from Matthew Stafford. They would not get the extra point. And Josh Allen would get the QB sneak with a minute to go, with your final score being Los Angeles Rams 44, Buffalo Bills 42. This was a great game to watch. Josh Allen had 3 touchdowns through the air and 3 touchdowns on the ground. First quarterback in NFL history to ever do that. Matthew Stafford on the other hand, over 300 yards. Puka Nacua, 12 catches, 162 yards, and a touchdown. Kyron Williams had 2 touchdowns on the ground. This incredible game to watch. Loved watching this game. And you won your division. You're trying to play with the intensity of every game is a playoff game when it's not. It's okay to lose a game or two, to just rest up and be healthy. For when you do play like a Mahomes or a Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, on the second thing is, you're still undefeated at home. And it's going to be rough because you're going to Detroit next week, and you've only lost on the road. Lions are a very good football team. I'll talk about that later, but it's tough to beat the Lions. You're the Bills. This is a tough loss to take, for sure. And for the Rams, you have hope. I think I was watching Football Night in America, and it says that the Rams control their own destiny right now. There's wiggle room to lose one game. And if you lose a game, it could be to the 49ers. It goes 49ers, at Jets, versus Cardinals, versus Seahawks, rest of the way. I mean, that's a very easy schedule. Very winnable schedule. So, yeah, Rams, you beat the Bills, you have hope. Up next, Steelers-Browns. I didn't watch this game, but I heard it was good enough that I should review it on my podcast. Believe it or not, I'm actually taking the time to review it, and I might cut this part out. I don't know yet. But anyway, Russell Wilson and the Steelers, almost said Steelers. Browns took an early 7-3 lead in the first quarter. Najee Harris answered back Then you had Van Jefferson catching a touchdown pass from Russell Wilson, and Pat Freiermuth catching a touchdown pass from Russell Wilson. And this is what we're talking about with Jameis Winston, right? You have the 2 touchdowns, you have the 200 yards, we also have the 2 interceptions. I don't know if there's a quarterback in the NFL that's like Jameis Winston, where he's on an incredible high and then he'll take you on an incredible low. Obviously, this is a home game for the Steelers. I don't plan on the Steelers losing at home, but geez, man. I mean, this is rough if you're Jameis, because this shows NFL teams, well, he can score touchdowns, yeah, he can lead the team down the field, but he can't not turn the ball over. He has a problem with turning the ball over. He can't not throw interceptions. It's a problem. It's got to be corrected. But for the Steelers, man, I don't know what else to say about this team, man. I'm rooting for the Steelers. I want the Steelers to, go all the way this year, but, man, how good is this team, really? I'll come back to that question, because, man, Lions-Packers. Go back to listen to my original video on the Lions-Packers Thursday Night Football prediction. Because I predicted that the Lions would win this game by a field goal. They would not cover the 3.5. So they would cover 2.5, not 3.5. So I picked the Packers on the spread. Worked in my favor. Now the Lions won this game and they clinched the playoff seed, which means they technically do not have to play their starters next week. I'm just kidding. No, this team is looking to make history. And definitely with the schedule that they've got coming up, it's definitely a winnable schedule. Once you get past Buffalo next week, you've got the Bears on the road, the Vikings on the road, and then you host the Bears on the road, 49ers on the road, and then you host the Vikings. Very winnable schedule if you're the Lions. I don't know what this defense is going to look like in those last couple of games, because they just keep getting banged up week after week. I do think that they'll be a little bit less banged up because they have the 10 days. But, man, I don't know. I don't know about this team. The defense. I don't know about the defense. But the offense can put up points. And as long as Dan Campbell's going to stay aggressive, that's not going to change. Now, Jameson Williams had led the game in receiving yards, led the Lions in receiving yards with 5 catches for 80 yards. Tim Patrick had 2 touchdowns. 2 big-time touchdowns in this game. So, shout out Tim Patrick. Also, game-winning, the PI near the end zone, can we just get over that? I think Christian Watson, yeah, he didn't intentionally run into him, but I don't know. I think that's a questionable call. It can go both ways, truly. Up next, Chargers, Chiefs. There's a way to describe this game. It would be absolute garbage, bro. How in the world? This game has actually got me legitimately, really upset, because they only kick field goals. Second quarter comes out. DeAndre Hopkins catches a 9-yard touchdown pass from Patrick Mahomes. 13-0 at the half. Chargers. Gus Edwards, 3-yard touchdown rush. Quentin Johnson, 4-yard touchdown pass from Justin Herbert. It's 14-13, people. A sack on 2nd and long. It just ends the drive. Run it short. Kick the field goal and put the ball right back into the hands of Patrick Mahomes with 4 minutes to go. And they milk the entire thing. Entire clock off. I'm speechless. Because I don't want to explain the kick. I don't want to explain the kick. Let's just go into our final segment of the day. Last segment of the day. Weekends. Answering the weekend's biggest questions. Question 1. Can the Lions and Chiefs go 16-1? No. Here's why. The Chiefs suck. Okay, they should have lost this week, but they didn't somehow. So, yes, the Chiefs suck. And the Lions, I don't think it's possible for them to go 16-1. I don't think it's possible for these teams to go 15-2. Yes, I mentioned how easy the Lions' schedule is. Still doesn't mean how easy the Lions' schedule is. I don't know. I think it's pretty hard to go 16-1. I'm going to go no. Are the Steelers good? No. The Steelers are not a good football team. Here's why. It's just, I feel like they were the third or fourth team in the division last year. And they got a pretty easy schedule, right? I think maybe their toughest stretch of the schedule is coming up, and they've already started falling their way through it. The real question is who's gonna beat the Steelers? It's not gonna be Baltimore. It's not gonna be it better not be the Chiefs. Eagles, I think, have a good shot at beating them, but yeah. I don't think the Steelers are actually good. Last question for today. Is Oregon the best team in the college football playoff? They low-key might be. I don't see a team like Georgia beating them, or a team like Texas beating them, or a team like Ohio State beating them. Well, maybe Ohio State, but I can't see any other team beating them, honestly. Oregon's just, they're that good, except for maybe that one team that's already. I think Oregon can beat every team in the field, except for maybe the one team that's already played them. You know, I think if they play Penn State again, Penn State has a better shot at beating them. And I think if they play Ohio State again, Ohio State's got a pretty good shot at beating them. But right now, yeah, Oregon's the best team in the college football playoff. Today was another great episode. I always enjoy it. I know you always enjoy it, and I'm glad that we can enjoy it together. So next time you listen into the Jaxon Show, bring a friend. I'm your host, Jaxon Solomon, and I'm signing off.